we can have your council, or town council, once again, review the same policies and memorandum they just already reviewed. I don't disagree with that. Bring them back before, but to sit there and say you're going to rewrite guidelines, you can't.
Lauren, I think there's a little misunderstanding. Our advertising says no advertising. What I'm saying is if we decided to move forward with advertising.
That's on school property, Maureen. You're quoting a policy that refers to school property. The school will always have first choice of this turf field, believe me. We wanted it there. We could have put it at Ipswich River Park. We wanted it at the high school where it belongs. It belongs there. We will always give the school first opportunity, first choice. It belongs there. It's for the town. It should be in the center of town. And I lost my train of thought because I'm getting nervous.
Three policies, if I could mind, the policies that were in place, all three say, the first one that says you don't allow advertising, then says except for non-profit, and gives ideas like the workshop, this and that, I assume would be recreation. All three, somewhere in your policy that you had, refer to, but you can, but you can, but you can. And I said, that's what we're, I'm not trying to be the lawyer, thank God you could, Jerry that can, shed some light on those things. But when we asked town council and we given all those questions, can we do it because, can we do it because, can we do it because? It wasn't to fight with the school committee, it was to make sure that we could say no, like you said, to the Marlboro man, and yes to the Budweiser man if you wanted.
I'm going to simplify this by saying, if you can do this, if it's legal to do this, I do not want to shove down my throat. I'm telling you right now. I want to work on this collaboratively with you. The hill you to do this.
And we want to too, Jerry.
If I'm going to wave a legal document in front of my face, that legal document can be interpreted on many other issues.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a lot of language in that document, Laura. So you can't just wave it when it behooves you or benefits you. There may be times when that document's not going to benefit
Absolutely.
you.
I believe we should abide by the document.
And I want to work with you guys, okay? If there's merit to this proposal, then I will certainly go along with it. I agree with Karen. I would agree with Mel, but I just don't want to have it. I don't want the school committee or the school department to be uncomfortable with it. Plain and simple. I mean, I went over the top to get this thing approved by the school committee and assured them, based on your assurances to me, that there wouldn't be these types of issues. And here we are 6 months later, and we've got one of these issues. And
But it's not. I don't believe that we didn't try to cause an issue. We had an idea, and 2 months ago.
May not have tried to cause it. It's an issue. You see
It's
what's happened here tonight.
It's an issue because the school committee, some members of the school committee don't believe the information that we're giving forward you. We asked for a meeting. We asked for this meeting just like we're having. We could have sat down.
That's not the issue. The issue is whether or not the school committee is comfortable, a majority of the school committee is comfortable with advertising of any nature, including the nature that you have proposing. It's not whether we're comfortable with the language of things. It's whether or not we're comfortable with the advertising at the school facility, which hasn't had it for 50 years.
Can I ask, if recreation's been around for 50 years also, if recreation accepted the memorandum of understanding and the information that was given to us, because the recreation committee is, I have to go back to the recreation committee because there are other areas that we thought it would have been easier to put in and have done. Many members of the committee also looked and said this will benefit the whole community. So we had the same discussions on recreation that you had in the school committee. We also gave up some things when we came back and said, we all want to agree and get along. But we also accepted this gift from the Hillview, which is a gift to recreation in the town, in the schools. Hillview didn't get anything out of it. They gave the money, and they said, you kids go do something nice with it, and that's what we did. And I said, so we accepted that every time that we wanted to change a color or this or that, we shouldn't have to have a huge meeting. We should be able to say, what are the parameters? Work within the system. That's why we had also a member of the school audit.
What are the parameters? That's what we need in writing. That's what I'm referring to. You shouldn't have to ask us if you're going to change it to red or blue, because you should go to the superintendent. You should look at, oh yeah, the school committee said I can operate within those parameters.
Right.
But I can't even get to that point until we clarify the assessment.
Right. So then, what do you have to? Right. What do you have to do to do that?
I'd like
I'm not
to
going to
get
draft
a
another letter to the.
Well, I'd like to get,
council.
A legal opinion specifically on that bylaw, and then I want to share it with the CPC. And so that they're thinking of the ramifications of what could quite possibly be a new definition of that bylaw. We've been operating for all these years that it means this. And now says, nah, there's room for that. Well, how's the community gonna respond? I've heard from how we're gonna respond, but, you know, 3 people called me over the weekend and left messages that they're totally against it. Their opinion, their right to that opinion. Certainly CPC needs to hear this, they're the planning board. So, you know, I just think there's an issue here that's bigger than us, and it's the town bylaw. And I don't have clarification on it yet.
Is the protocol to go to CPC or go to Board of Appeals if we disagree with building inspector? I guess all I'm asking is we follow protocol on whatever it should be.
Well, we can get a legal opinion, certainly we can do that and then share it with CPC. I mean, I don't think any one lawyer's gonna do something the other one isn't. But if we caught it, I would wanna share it with them. And we can do that. They're all accessible to us, so.
The question about whether the advertising policy applies because it says on school property, by reference in the memorandum of understanding, that it in fact does apply because it is incorporated as a policy within the memorandum of understanding. It's like it was a part of the schools. And if that doesn't apply, then neither does the other one on sponsorships. So there's a question in there about how that applies. And those people that were present at the time of the signing of this memorandum of understanding remember a discussion about advertising. And the discussion about advertising, we said advertising is basically not allowed. You could have a board with plaques showing sponsorship. And if you were there, you will remember that discussion. And that was, in fact, the agreement. Now, you know, we can find, again, ways of around that. But that was basically the agreement. And we were looking at something very professional and very neat, and something in keeping with the kind of facility that was going in. And we talked about, you know, plaques on a board and on a board. That was the kind of thing that we talked about. And this is not that. And I think that we are, we're going around and around on this, but the fact is that what we agreed to was that. We knew what the policy was. We have lived with it for 22 years. And again, throwing it away, saying, well, it doesn't apply because it's not related, it's not school property anymore. That jumps outside of what the intent of the memorandum of understanding was, which was a cooperative agreement to deal with building a field for nothing, for free. That was the game. And that's what we were all aimed at. It was a way to get a very nice facility without having it impact the town's tax rate, which is wonderful. And it's turned out great. It's really, really neat. But we're again pushing up against a policy that's been in existence for many years. And if this, again, the precedent is as much a part of establishing the policy. It isn't just a policy we wrote yesterday. It's a policy that we've lived with for years. And if we were intending that the policy be different than what we've interpreted, we would have put signs up somewhere else, and we'd have made money at it. And there would be you know, lots of opportunities. The interpretation of the zoning of the sign bylaw by the building inspector is saying that you can have serial signs of 16 square feet ad infinitum. That is not the kind of interpretation which is used on other locations where they count every square foot as against your allocation. It's not serial, it's one shot at it. And there's all kinds of opportunities. The churches will all have their signs up. This is a real breakthrough for many parts of the community because they are also nonprofit, and they can put their signs up. I'm not sure that they how much, they didn't want to put up some of the nasty signs either, but that's out there. So that the interpretation has ramifications that go outside of what we're talking about here. And again, my principal concern is related to the educational issue. And we put in front of the kids in a vulnerable situation. They see it all the time on TV. They see it, everywhere they go, they see advertising, but not at school. And school is where they learn, so that they can blow it off out everywhere else. But at school, they take it more seriously. And that's a serious issue.
Yeah, I think it would be good to just outline our next step, and we can get some. Oh, absolutely.
I would just like to say that as a school committee, we need to do our homework and abide by what we come up with in terms of collaboration as much as Parks and Recreation. It's vital that we do this better. I don't think that we handled this the way that I think we all wanted it to be handled. It kind of evolved into something that I think not everyone is happy with. And I know going forward that the school committee will make the effort to make this work. From everything that I've heard you say tonight and also the communication that I've gotten, it's been done thoughtfully and with respect about what we are trying to achieve on the turf field. And I wanted to represent that to the committee, that I think we can work something out. But I also want to make sure that our committee does our homework. We've come to this meeting with unanswered questions that we've had in our minds for weeks. And I would like to make sure that when we come here the next time discussing this issue, that we have everything out on the table in a very transparent way, and that the community is informed about this. And I understand the unanswered questions, and I know this is a tough issue for a lot of us. But I want to find a way that we can work together where when issues come up, whatever it is in the future, that we all come to the understanding that we are all trying to do this with the right purpose in mind. I would really like this rancor to go away, because I don't think that we should be questioning motives. I completely understand that an idea that comes out you may not understand all the stuff we're thinking about, and vice versa. And so I appreciate your patience with the process. It is tough, but it will be worthwhile, and we're all committed to making that happen.
Maureen, if I could just make one statement as Chair of Parks and Recreation before we leave, and it somewhat relates to Jerry saying he doesn't want it pushed down his throat. And I totally agree. I swore I was not going to bring this up before I came here, but it totally relates to what you were just saying too. I stood outside town meeting Monday night when it adjourned, and I was with a small group of recreation, and I was approached by a member of the school committee who I had never met, had never spoken with, and I was told with a finger in my face, if you put a sign on that field, I'm gonna sue you. So I'm sorry that I came in here tonight upset, because I just looked at the school committee member and said, excuse me, I'm sorry, I don't believe we've ever formally met. I'm the current chair of Parks and Recreation, Lauren McMullen. Can I just understand for sure what you just, I didn't know if he meant the school committee was gonna sue Parks and Recreation, that's what I thought. And he said, no, I'm gonna sue you personally with my own funds if one sign goes in there. So I'm sorry that I came here upset tonight. And I want to apologize, but I feel as though we've been attacked, and we work hard. We work really hard, and I do want to do this together, and I hope we can. And I thank you for giving us the time.
Go ahead.
I was the person that she's talking to. I did not say I was going to sue her personally. I said that I would use my own funds as an individual, not as a member of the school committee, to sue the town in the event that there was essentially a billboard in violation of the zoning bylaw that went up on the field.
You said I would sue you. You pointed right at
I
us.
did not. You clarified
Yeah,
that with me. You said, are you
Let's do
saying
it.
you would sue